Retold update. Boom, 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 boom. And I did have a little skimp, but let's go. Okay. The new patch, May 20th. Let us have a look-see. Okay. So build spotlight, AI personalities. That is not for us. We'll just skip through that. I'm sure people can read that, whoever is interested in the campaign. We're mostly interested in game stuff, like multiplayer stuff. Fix the crash. All good, all good. PS5 players get some love. Love to see it. Okay. Graphics, just okay, just graphic stuff. This is a sad one. Axes thrown by throwing axemen units will no longer remain spinning when they miss their targets. This was a good thing. Yep. Okay. Oh yeah, let me just give you guys the link in case you guys want to have a look for yourself. Right. So audio, this has been a problem for us for a couple of patches. Let's see. Fixed an edge case where audio would not meet you if you launched the game and did not have the game and focus at specific points during loading. Balanced audio levels for all selection sounds. Many minor adjustments to various sounds and the effects that apply to them. Fixed some audio pass in the data that could have prevented the sounds from playing in expected situations. Fixed some additional cases where sound effects did not have the expected volume levels. Volume levels now apply correctly to the narrator. Fixed sounds not applying when cheats are used. Grunts and acknowledgements will no longer cause ducking of other sound effects. Fixed an issue where the narrator volume was too quiet at 5% volume. Updated Fmod Studio Audio to use version 2.03.07 to improve audio quality. Fixed a bug that prevented some sound mods from working after the Fmod Studio updates, including the original voices mod. But where is my defeat or victory sound? Right? Where's my defeat or victory sound? Yo, Jazz Walks, thank you for the prime, my man. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Oh, and Matri is coming in with a raid. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for the raid, Mads. Hope you had a good stream. We are going over the patch currently. I'm sure you guys went over it with Matrius and he gave you his thoughts. And now it's my turn to give you my thoughts. But I'm surprised they did not fix the audio of like the victory screen or defeat screen. That makes me sad. Because I would like to hear that, you know? It gives you that little dopamine or that sadness when you lose, you know? But I'm surprised they didn't address that, but maybe next patch. Push stock can now be rebound, okay. UI, major gold portrait choice are now visible to other players in multiplayer lobbies. Cool. This is just UI stuff. Did they fix the tooltip? Loading, no. Oh, okay, spectator UI. Oh, my pog! Finally, that one was really bad. No, I was trolling Boyd with this one. Nah, that's sad. Fix the bug. Multiplayer ranked lobbies will now show the correct team mode. In some cases, free for all. Okay. Red dot will now show the tab. Okay. Controller. Okay. Gameplay. Now this is where things get interesting. Hello, Rappel. Yes, I am going over the patch, my good sir. Dynamic progressive damage and infection are no longer applied or handled while the ceasefire god power is active. Okay. That's good. This is good. This means that now, basically, anything with damage over time or infection, like Fey Beasts, will now mean it gets countered by ceasefire, basically, to put it simply. Not stuff like Locust, however. Locust is not a damage over time, right? Straight up damage as things are passing over. So, but that's a good. Now this is a good god power against Fey Beasts. Units can no longer become permanently invincible when walking through Shenong's Blessed Farms. Okay. Improvements have been made to AI, including the following fixes. In addition, the AI can now attack the wall while seeking out other players on the Great Wall random map. Okay. Fixed a bug that prevented valid AI planning of the Underworld God power placement. Okay. Added support for hybrid terrain. Villagers will now correctly try. Oh my pog. Villagers will now correctly try to start gathering the closest relevant resource after building a drop point. Chat. Viewers, this is massive. This is big. Big. Huge. This has actually lost me quite a few games. And imagine it's lost my opponents quite a few games as well. But this is actually amazing to see. This is so good. Yep, I love it. Animal predators can now auto-attack villagers. Now this is a change that I initially thought was intended. I thought it was like intended, but it was apparently a bug where like not boars, crocodiles, polar bears, wolves couldn't or wouldn't attack your villagers. I thought it was a new like thing. But apparently it was just a bug, so now they're gonna actually start fucking your villagers up. So, do we like that? Personally, I don't. But maybe the casual player base will like it more because it's more immersive. But I'm sure we'll get some good clips of me or others losing villagers to predators now. So it's gonna be good content at least. Fix the bug where trolls and joggers restart a special attack wind up when their initial target died before firing. Okay. Fix the bug that could prevent players from attacking buildings that were in the process of actively time shifting away. Okay, this is good. Ruins a little bit of Chronos cheese, but this isn't like shouldn't be in the game anyway, right? Taunts now work in multiplayer when playing with AI. Cool. Minor updates to improve patrolling behavior by changing when unit groups compute their centroid. Fix the bug that prevented units from attacking other units in some situations. Improvements for unit movement prediction. Fix the chance that movement prediction could send units off the map. I think I've heard about this a couple of times. I don't think I've experienced it, but I've heard about it. Fix the bug that prevented the repair of farms. Fix the bug that prevented a 50% discount for the military camp and workshop if the buildings were connected to favored land after they were built. Okay, that's good. Nice little bug fix. Signing additional attack move waypoints is now possible. While in the attack move mode, you can left click with shift press. This is good. This is a really nice quality of life thing that the game needs. You know, stuff like this opens up more opportunities for cool plays, you know. Deleting wall foundations near earthen walls will no longer cause damage to earthen walls. Okay, this was something I pointed out very early on, and I'm finally seeing this change come through, which is really nice. It was actually insane. I had built a wall, and then I delete like a wall chip next to the earth wall, and then I deleted it, and I lost the earth wall as well. But yeah, fixed villagers not dropping off resources when shift queuing after building a drop site or town center. Oh my god. I love you, MOF. This is something I actually complained about. Because, you know, there's this thing where if you take a couple of villagers and put them on a different resource, and you don't if you end up shift clicking, they would not drop off that resource before gathering the new resource. But if you didn't shift click, they would drop it off and then they would go onto that resource. The issue with this was the villagers had their own mind. They would split between gold and they would split between wood or food, which made it really bad. So this is a really, really good change and very significant one that can actually make it so that build orders can be executed even better. Improvements for the villager priority system, including improvements to finding resources around drop site buildings. Villagers will now evaluate whether it is possible to access resources to prevent a situation in which they would be assigned resources that were impossible to access. Nice. Trees are now sorted to prevent a situation where the villager priority system would attempt to assign villagers to gather trees in the middle of a forest. Okay, this is good. If this is what I think it means, which is like sometimes my fucking villagers would run all the way around the forest and start cutting there, which would end up meaning that they have an insanely long walking distance back to the storehouse. And I really hated that because you had to keep an eye on your villagers. All right, now we're finally into balance. Let's see. So berry gather rate reduced from 0.8 to 0.7 food per second. I mean, it's not something I don't really mind this change, and I'm sure many others won't, especially since it's kind of offset by the next change, which is increased food contained inside animals by 25%, rounded to a nearby rounded number. And herdable fattening rate also reduced, quite significant actually, 0.5, but that's fine. This, however, this is big. Survival equipment is now available 1 age sooner. This means Ra will fuck you up if you try to raid him, okay? So this means that Ra, in addition to being able to gather berries at the same rate of hunt, he will now be able to also get skin of the rhino and survival equipment and fight you in classic with villagers without having any risk of getting raided early on. Basically like Uranos 2.0, more or less. So it's a change I am going to welcome. I do think, however, it's going to be quite hard to punish Raw because of Skin of Rhino. My chat is asking me if Villager Rush is possible now, and I don't think it is. Especially with the changes right here. This will basically... I mean, no one grabs Masons in Classical, right? But moving on from this is going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Maybe they need to make it cheaper. I'm not sure. I don't know if a lot of people will grab it. But it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, to say the least. And raw villager shenanigans can be a play. Maybe I'll have to do some testing. But moving on, Masons changed, adjusted as follows. No longer reduces building and town center hack and crush vulnerability. Building hit points increased from 15 to 20. And the same for architects. This basically means that units are not as good against buildings when they have masons, but siege is basically the same. So units are slightly worse against buildings, but siege is still the same. So this was an effort to basically make town centers or buildings more like fortified, I guess. I don't mind it. It's not a big deal, really. Just have to play around it. So, crush armor of all siege weapons increased from 65 to 70. I do like to see that. Siege on siege war is not something I am a big fan of in AOM that can stay in AoE. It still happens sometimes, but this should help it a bit more. So, per scene, this is big nerfs. So, fishing ship gather rate reduced from 75 to 50. Salt and 4 adjusted as follows. Fishing ships gather rate reduced from 75 to plus 50. Cost increased from 150 to 500. These are some big nerfs. Fishing ship base gather rate from 0.5 to 0.55. Egyptian 0.45 to 0.5. I mean, it's not as good. Basically, it's not going to be as good, but it's still going to be good. So you still want to fight water. You need to fight water. You're still going to lose the game if you lose water, usually. But this just leaves a little bit more room for a comeback. It's not as impressive as it was, but it's still really, really good. Hmm. Do I like this change? I don't know. I personally, what I would have liked to seen, in my opinion, I would have not liked to see this guy touched. I would have rather had it 75, and then instead of changing this as well, just push Salt Amphora to Mythic, and then we're good to go. Keep Persine and Classic as it is, and push Salt Amphora to Mythic, and then I don't think you would have needed any changes, and I think it would have been fine. Yep. Deathmatch. Wait, let me just take a sip of water. All right. Deathmatch. Chinese spawn with one less Quafu. I don't know much about Deathmatch, but I'm sure they're fine with it. It's probably what they wanted. Tusk of Dunkong. Spawn pigs now are spawned at any town center and no longer follow the rally point. Okay, I'm wondering, does this mean that they spawn on your main town center, or every time they spawn on a random town center? I'm not sure because they are being vague here. They're not letting me know if it's gonna spawn on my third town center that's in front of my enemy, or if it's gonna spawn on my. I would assume it's going to be on my main town center, and if that one falls, it's gonna be the one that I took second. Oh, okay. Thank you, Hagrid. So Hagrid says spawns on your oldest town center, like every other spawn mechanic. So this means it'll be like if it's gonna spawn on your main TC, and if your main TC goes down, it's gonna spawn on your TC that you took second, and then so forth. But yeah, this is an amazing change. You love to see it. Tusk of Dankang, pig respawn timer increased from 120 to 150. That's good because this was kind of overpowered. Like this relic was insane, okay? And maybe we should do a relic tier list because I like seeing relic changes. I think it can spice the game up in more ways than people actually think. Some relics are game changers. This one is a game changer. So 150, slightly nerfed, but still very good. Okay, so God powers. Some God powers have had their concurrently active amounts limited. When a new cast exceeds these limits, the oldest active God power of the same type will be removed. Earth Wall, limited to 4 per player and 24 globally. Force Protection, limited to 3 per player. Do I like this? Of course I like it. Like don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with this. But 4 per player is still too much. I would have much rather seen 1 per player. 1 per player and maybe make it cheaper so that you can actually move it around. Like, what if Earthwall recast was something like 50 favor and you can only have it on one spot? I think that would make it a much better God power. And same thing for Force Protection, because 3 per person, like 3 per player is still way too much, right? 1 per player would be better, and have the recast at like 75. And don't make it go up per recast. You just basically, if you need to use Earthwall forward, you can't have it in your main base. And if you want to use Force Protection forward, you can't have it in your main base. So basically shifting their locations. That's what I would have liked to see. But this is okay, but the game is over anyway. By the time these guys have 4 or 3, it's over anyway, so it's not really gonna matter too much. All Pantheon changes. My boy. Look how they massacred my boy. Poseidon. As we all know, I am a big Poseidon lover. But this patch, he was beyond crazy, right? We cannot argue against that. When we see Quoth playing Poseidon, then it's basically, you know, his OP. He needs to get nerfed. He needs to get nerfed. If Quoth plays something, that thing needs to get nerfed. You'll see Quoth playing a lot of set this patch, by the way. Alright. So this, like, I know some people will be like, oh my god, but it's 0.1. It's big, okay? It's not huge, but it's big. It's 0.1, which means now they are easier to get a, what's it called, snare on. I'm talking mainly about the centaurs here. They're going to be easier to get a snare on and die, which is fine. You just have to be better. More skill expression, blah, blah, blah. But I'm okay with this change. It's not going to change too much. It's going to hurt him a little bit, but still going to be in a fine position. I don't think this is actually going to matter. He's still going to be good. And I think the reason behind his success is bronze, not actually these guys or the speed. It's actually bronze that's making him too good. Minor goals, Aphrodite, Divine Blood, cost reduced from 100 food, 30 favor to 125 favor. 5 favor less, not bad, can't really complain. It's a good tech. You want to grab it when you can. Hermes Spirit to charge, cost reduced from 125.25 to 125.20. So another 5 favor. What do I think about? I mean, it's good. Is it gonna make a big difference? It will. If you play around it, it can make a big difference. It can make a big difference. So while this is a welcome change, I don't think it was necessary. I think it was should have stayed the way it was. This might even make it a bit too good. 5 favor is significant, and the earlier you get it, the earlier you offset this, which is not good. Yes, the thing with Divine Blood is you have to get it from the town center. If this wasn't a thing, I think this Aphrodite would be much more basically attractive, you know? Get it? Aphrodite? But yeah, I think if you could research this from like an armory or a temple or a granary, would have been really nice. Dionysus bronze got, oh look, would you look at that? 40 to 35. I don't think it's enough. I think this needs to go down to 30. This is still too good. I think you can put it down to 30, maybe even, nah, okay. 30, and then if it's still proving to be too good, I think 25. Because it's kind of insane how much this is when you pair it with a big pop of army. But yeah, yep, good developer note. No, but my Villa. Oh. Can we get some Kraken nerfs too, at least? Scylla's getting hit every patch. Poor Scylla, man. What did they do? I mean, do I agree with this change? Yeah, why not, right? Why not? It's good. Was it overperforming? Not really. Not since the heroic fleet buffs. I don't think it was overperforming. But this is just gonna make it less less something you want to rush or play around, like form a strategy around. Human units, Hippias, Pierce armor from 40 to 45. Yet another change that is welcome, because I heard this one is actually all across the board for every single anti-archer cavalry. The way I feel about it, I'm not too sure. It's going to make raiding really, really good. And archer balls are not as strong anymore. But it's also going to screw some matchups. Some matchup dynamics are going to be screwed because of this. But yeah, we'll have to see how this plays out. I think it's a big buff. Not sure if it was needed, but we'll see. All right, Egyptian Pantheon, the kings of this patch, or the gods of this patch, the gods of this patch, or the previous patch. So let's see if they remain at the top, or if they're gonna take a step back for once. So raw, monuments area no longer affects other monuments. This is a really good change. This basically means that your favor income is matched with other Egyptians now, instead of you having pretty much double their favor income because you could empower all of the monuments at once. This effect. Yep. Read the developer note. He's right. Priests and monument area empowerment effect reduced from 70 to 60. I don't like the priest one, but the pharaoh one. Wait, priest and monument area empowerment effect reduced from 70 to 60 of the strength of a pharaoh. Okay, so pharaoh empowers at 60% now instead of 70%, and priests also empower at 60%. I don't feel like priests needed that, but it's fine. It's not gonna kill them. This is going to be hurting him slightly, not too much. He's still gonna be strong, but we'll have to see. So, Set. This is my guess for the strongest. This is gonna be my guess for the strongest god of this patch. And it's going to be Set, and adjusted animal of Set hunt values to the match of the huntable animals changes in terms of food contained. Okay, so to align with the new plus 25% hunt, like food the hunt has, his animals will also be getting a 25% buff. So this is really, really good for Set. Really good for Set. Adjusted priest animal conversion durations to match the huntable animal change. Yep. Okay. Nice. You know what I would have liked to see? A change where one thing that makes Set the least attractive god for me to play is the fact that I am a select all military enthusiast, and I like how when you are empowering stuff with raw priests, they don't get selected into your army. If we somehow could implement this into Set converting animals, I would love this god. It would be such a nice quality of life. It would be such a nice quality of life. Well, it's not the biggest of deals. You can play around it, but I'm just, it would be just much, much better. But yeah. Clairvoyance. This tech is OP. This tech is so good. And it got a buff. Like now you should get it. Keep it in your mind to get like this is such a good tech. Faster research time and reduced. Wow, that is a big reduction in price. It was worth getting at 215. I would have even gotten it at 220, but now it's dirt cheap. This is a rush tech at this point. This is something you get now after your second TC. And it's map hacks basically. This might be a bit too much. This might be a bit too much, to be honest. But yeah, we'll see. So Eclipse, God Power, duration reduced from 66 to 55. Yeah, this was needed for sure. For sure needed. It's still going to be strong. Still going to be really good, and you'll be able to do whatever you wanted to do in the 55 seconds. Yeah, it's not gonna be a big change, but it's still gonna be a nice. It's not gonna be as annoying. Still gonna be insanely good, but yeah. And it was also generating favor. All right, moving on. Sobek Solar Bark. Cabinet damage required for spawning 3 sea snakes reduced from 5. Oh my god, no. Is this a classical tech? You know how strong this is? Nah, if this is a classical tech, this is kind of insane. Oh no, this is Sobek. It's heroic. It's heroic. Okay. Saved. We're fine, chat. My blood pressure was spiking, but it's going down again. Nepti, Spirit of Mod technology research time reduced from 40 to 30. Nepti technology now also increased priest and God. No fucking way. Yo, this is so insane for Set. Like these changes for Set is so insane, man. Oh my god. They really did not need that. I can tell you that much. Our Neptys was already really, really good. It was simply slept on because Bone Bow and Citadel Center are in a tier of their own. So Neptys was viable this whole time, but people just forgot about it because of Sekhmet, right? So Neptys technology will not see much use. Some buffs to hopefully allow some more value from this god should give ISIS instead more compelling reason to go with this choice. There are games where you want to go for Neptys, and there are games where you want to go for Sekhmet or Hathor for both ISIS and Set. Set players are defaulting to Sekhmet, but I think sometimes when they do that, they're making a big mistake because they've been sleeping on this Neptys, and Neptys has been really good. They just forgot about it. So this is not a change that I am a fan of, but we'll see. So Sekhmet, Crimson Linen technology adjusted as follows. Okay, go on. Lifesteal on Scarabs increased from 60 to 75. So I was having this discussion with a couple of people, and I was wondering if the Scarab actually works on buildings as lifesteal. Basically like the Rock Giant. Basically like the Rock Giant, right? And they said no. So I'm thinking this is kind of still useless. It works against units, but it doesn't work against buildings, and Scarabs isn't like made to take down buildings, so it kind of doesn't make sense. What I would love to see is decrease this from 75 to 25 or even 30 and make them able to lifesteal off of buildings like Rock Giants do, upgraded Rock Giants, and that would make Scarabs a really viable play. And at all stages of the game, mind you. Lifesteal on other myth units increased from 20 to 25%. Okay, so this was actually not needed because there's a thing called Avenger Eclipse, and with now Crimson Linen, these guys can probably kill 210 pop worth of army without heroes, obviously, with Eclipse, and still stay on full health now. These are actually insane. Like, this is I mean, you guys need to test some of these things out, because this is gonna put the game in a very annoying state. Super fast Avengers running around, and just Eclipsed Avengers can kill max pop army and still come out alive. And it's gonna be something you guys should watch out for. So let's move on. Citadel Center is still going to be ridiculously good. The favor change is obviously welcome. It's gonna be less. It's not gonna be as spammy late game. Like most people, some people play for 3 Citadel Centers. I personally don't think you should do that, but you know, each to their own. The favor change doesn't. It matters, but it doesn't matter enough because Citadel is broken in ways where it's not. That has nothing to do with it being recasted all the time. It's got to do with the fact that you do 100 DPS with units inside and empowering it, and the fact that you cannot take it down without having an insane amount of siege, and pairing it with the fact that Egyptian catapults are really good at taking down siege. Just pretty much very difficult to push it. But yeah, moving on. Hold on. Let me just do something real quick. All right. I have now disabled sound alerts, chat. So if you want to waste your precious points on those, feel free. You won't get it. You won't get them back. Moving on. Sphinx. Cost increase from 120 to 12018 to 12020. Very welcome change. With this paired with the raw monument nerf means that they won't have 15 Sphinx at like 12 minutes or like 10 Sphinx at 12 minutes anymore. They will have more like, they will have a reasonable number, 4 or 5 Sphinx. 4 to 5 Sphinx is what they will have. Yo, Wolfer, thank you very much for the raid. Welcome everyone. Join us on this patch. preview or review. Hope you had a good stream. But yeah, moving on. So this is a really good change for Sphinx. It's not going to be as insanely toxic to play against them. There's going to be counterplay now because there's going to be less of them. But yeah. Now, here is a change I am definitely not a fan of. Like, I don't know why this came. This is one of the changes that you should never do. Minions were already really, really good. Ancestors were already really good. So giving them 1 damage for no reason is kind of insane. Because now you have other plays like mummies back in, like, oh, I don't want to see mummies again. But it's very strong now. Don't underestimate 1 damage, guys. They felt ancestors were good. Now they're just even better. And the biggest change for Egyptians, I guess, this patch, you could say, is this one, where priests now have +2 range in Classic. And that's going to help them with their biggest weakness, which was like centaurs just outspacing them and just priests not being able to deal with them too well. So now it's pretty much gonna cover them in that aspect, and they've covered them in other aspects. So Egyptians looking a bit too good still. But yeah, moving on. Human units. Spearmen, the bane of my existence for that last patch. Let's see. Bonus damage multiplier versus cavalry reduced from 1.75 to 1.5. Cost increase from 50, 20 to 50, 28. For set, this is 12 gold, by the way. Train time increased from 11.5 to 12.5. So I think this isn't enough, to be honest. The changes last patch that were made to spearmen put them. So basically, base spearmen, classical, medium spearmen were basically heavy spearmen with the last patch changes, and they still are. That hasn't changed. They're an insanely strong generalist unit that have the speed of a fucking they fly in the map. 5.3 speed for set, 5 for the others. And their techs, their unique techs are so busted. Late game you have 5.8 speed spearmen for set. That's faster than some of the cavalry in the game. So just think about that for a second. I think this either needs to go down to 1.25 and this back to 20, or you need, like, I would like to see the damage and hit point change, one of them at least reverted. Because at this point, yeah, they're basically a Kopesh from extended edition of the game. This is what we didn't want. I have played games where I make nothing but spearmen and suicide them all game long, and I still win because of how strong they are right now. Well, the spearmen buffs were welcome. Set in ISIS. I love how they had to say set in ISIS. Because the first thing I would say, I think the first thing I said last time they made a note about this was, welcome for Raw? Nah. It's fine for ISIS, but set, I don't know, because ISIS doesn't get any of the unique techs that make Spearmen even more busted. But set do, Raw do. So it's kind of, you know, hard. ISIS should be played around Migdol units anyway, not barracks units. That's her identity. That should be her identity. Anyway. Axemen, just as follows. Bonus damage multiplier versus infantry reduced from 4.5 to 4 times. Really nice and welcome change, because Norse were struggling insane, like big time against Axemen myth unit compositions. So this should help a bit. And Pierce armor up. That doesn't really matter too much for Norse. But yeah. Oh. Chariot archers. Training time reduced from 9.5 to 8. Oh my god. No. We were heading down a good path, man. I want to read the developer note. Make those stronghold soldiers have had their train times increased in order to promote more Migdal-oriented. Wait. Migdal stronghold soldiers have had their train time increased. Isn't this supposed to be decreased? In order to promote more Migdal-oriented playstyles, shifting the power budget away from the barracks a little and into the Migdal. We are aware that the Charger Archer is a very strong unit in its current state, and we'll keep a close eye on how these changes develop. I want Bone Bow reworked. Bone Bow should not give you range. Please remove that and do whatever you want. You can have them at 1 second. Just remove the Bone Bow tech. That is what is making this unit absurd. This unit doesn't have problems when you're playing against ISIS. This unit is good. It feels good to play against ISIS with this unit, and it feels good to use them as ISIS. What doesn't feel good, though, is someone being able to kill every single unit off screen because of the Bone Bow upgrade. That is what is ruining Chariot Archers, and that needs to be reworked into something that does not give you range. Because these guys have damage, they have speed, they have range, they have mobility, everything. Like, they have everything. And Bone Bow, on top of that, just takes the unit to another level. Magic is gonna kill me for saying that, but yeah. Right, Camel Rider just as follows. Train time reduced from 8 to 6.5, Pierce armor increased from 35 to 40. Unnecessary change yet again. Training time on Camel Riders were completely fine. This is just gonna make fast mythic play even more viable, because now once you get Valley of the Kings out, you're gonna have what, empowering 60% empower rate, 6.5 seconds. You do the math, but it's gonna basically, you're gonna have 2 camels every 3-4 seconds with the Levi upgrades, and it's gonna be very, very obnoxious and strong. So another unnecessary change regarding the training time. This one as well, I don't think this one should have applied to camels because they are a dual counter unit. They counter both archers and cavalry, even though it is a soft archer counter. But you need to either, like, if you're gonna give them that, then you need to like nerf it somewhere else, right? Because now this unit is over buffed. War Elephants just as follows. Train time reduced from 16.5 to 14 seconds. Pierce armor increased from 40 to 45. Okay, chat. I have something to tell you about War Elephants. They were really, really, really good last patch. People just didn't make them. But they were perfectly fine. Very strong. But now, you know, you have no reason to not make them. They have to be made in certain situations in the game, such as when you are pushing up and you're throwing down a forward Migdal. You can't have them walking into from your base to their base. This is a unit you need to push up with, or have like try to minimize the walking distance to the point of attack. And this is where that unit shines. Right. So moving on. Monument to Gods reduced from 700, 700, 600, 600. This is fine. This was rarely seeing anyone building it. Maybe we'll see 5 monument. No, I'm just kidding. Won't happen. On my pog, it's Odin in the house. Hamask technology. Berserk bonus damage multiplier versus Mythians increased from 25% to 50. Sheesh. It's kind of a big change, chat. Kind of a really nice change for Hamask. That's a pretty decent buff. We'll see how it goes, but I think this is gonna help Odin out a lot, especially with like Anubites and stuff like that, which they will still struggle against, which is another OP myth unit set than ISIS have. Or not OP, but really, really strong at least. So Golden Bursty. Damage from initial impact reduced from 20 to 10. Initial impact scaling per age reduced from plus 20 to plus 10 hack damage per age. Archaic and classical age duration reduced from 50 to 40. Heroic age duration reduced from 60 to 45. Ooh, that's a big one. Ooh. This is kind of a huge nerf, actually. These are big nerfs for the Golem Bear. I'm sure Boyd is very happy about this. I'm sure some Freyr mains are not very happy about this. I'm okay with it, but I think it was maybe too much. Maybe 60 to 50 and 70 to 60. Or just leave these alone, or nerf these, but don't nerf these, because now it's kind of like, it's not as valuable. I mean, it was an archaic age god power, so it was really good. It was probably the best one in the game as well, when you get to use it in heroic or mythic. Anyways, minor goals, Freya, Sisrumnir, okay, go on. Cost reduced from 100, 115 to 100, 110. This is a really nice change. People were saying that Sisrumnir were not worth it last patch. I was the one disagreeing with them, and I would still disagree with them, because in the right situations it was really good. And Rappel, who's also one of the best Norse players, also thinks the same. But now it's going to be even better. That's going to be even better now. So this is a really good change for Norse to deal with some more shenanigans thrown at them. Sons of Sleipnir now affects all cavalry. That's a nice change. Balder needed some love. Yep. It's going to affect Jarls now as well. So Heimdall, Undermine, God Power, just crush damage increased from 7.5 to 10. Bonus damage multiplier versus socketed town centers reduced from 2 to 0.75. This is a very good change. It's in team games, you could take down a town center with 2 Undermines and it was game over at that point. Bonus damage versus fortress reduced from 2 times to 1.5. This is also good. Still going to be a good God Power. Still going to do its job. I mean, you got a buff, right? And a nerf here. And a nerf here. But it's fine. Still going to be good. Einherjes. Movement speed increased from 3.5 to 3.8. So I don't think you will ever build this unit unless they come to 4 speed. Simply because they will match the throwing axeman speed. And you really don't want to slow down your already slow throwing axemen when they are such a key unit in your composition. Defensively, when you're trying to like gap close defensively, it's okay, but like running around the map, it's not ever going to really be feasible when your units are getting dragged down by 0.2 speed. But it is a nice change nonetheless. It is a nice change. Nidhogg. Hell now starts with the ability disabled by default. This is a really good change. Really nice change. The other day, like most of the time I see this god power, people use it like, including me, by the way. No one uses it correctly, okay? But the other day I saw Soup. He used his Nidhogg in the most orgasmic way imaginable. It was so nice to see someone using Nidhogg properly. And it really showed the strength of the Nidhogg when he did that. He disabled it, and then he used it. Like, it was so nice. It was so good. And now it's going to be... People are going to have to be aware of that and try to make more plays with this special attack since it's disabled by default. Ooh, this one right here. Herser has been the bane of every Norse main's existence in these patches, and we are finally seeing some buffs. So movement speed increased from 4.5 to 4.8. Chat, this is big. This is massive for the Hersers. Gigantic. Bonus time versus myth units increased from 5.5 to 6 times. Oh my god, that's good. I'm okay with this. And this one is actually insane as well. It's 10% pierce armor. But Mono Loki Herser is back. We're gonna see we're gonna see Mono Hersers. That's gonna be annoying, but it's fine. We can live on the down for a patch or two. I don't mind. Okay, moving on. Goldie adjusted damage from 6.5 to 7, 16 to 17, 18 to 19. These are all good changes. It's gonna make Goldie a good unit now. It's not gonna make them. They were already okay, but they weren't really good. Now they're good, and if they get any more nerfs, they're gonna be too good. So this is a welcome change, and I think just by looking at this, Goldies are gonna be okay now. They should be made. They should be used. It's a happy day for Norse mains. Okay. Arrow of Ragnarok, Balder. Okay, go on. Movement speed increase from 4 to 4.3. Hit points increase from 110, 120. Oh my. This is actually pretty good. 10 per unit, and then the movement speed making them run around. But the good thing, you see, devs know what they're doing just by looking at this. They know what they are doing. You could have chosen 4.4, 4.2, 4.5, but they chose 4.3 for a reason. Because most anti-infantry are 4.3. So they did not want to make the movement speed beyond that, because then it would be basically very, very annoying to deal with this. But this is proof that those devs know what they're doing, except for the cherries. No, I'm just kidding. Kidding. Moving on. Raiding Cavalry adjusted as follows. Bonus damage multiplier versus archers increased from 1.5 to 1.75. Pierce armor increased from 35 to 40. Poseidon's actually gonna suck really, really hard into Norse now. Because of this change right here. But this is a fine change, but obviously this is universal for all cavalry units, so it's gonna be interesting, but centaurs are gonna be bad, which is fine, whatever, right? Jarls are just as follows. 10 to 11 hack, Pierce armor 35 to 40. It's a nice change. Why not, right? Jarls should see some love as well. Now this is the one that's actually insane. This one right here. What the hell? 11 range. 10 to 11 range. That is kind of insane if you think about it. Because now, like, obviously you get range with each line upgrade, and then if you go through Skadi, you get the Huntress Axe, and that's another further +1 range. I think once you hit heavy, I think you're at what, 15 range, right? 15 range or something. 16 with champion. I don't know. This might be too much, to be honest. The Pierce armor as well. Like, why? I don't think throwing axemen needed a buff. I think they were perfectly fine as they were. If anything, remove one of their dual tags. But why this? I don't know. I feel like these are too good now. Moving on. Chronos can now also time shift farms. Ooh, that's OP. That's OP. Go on. Nereid adjusted as follows. Hit points from 400 to 600. Special attack bonus damage multiplier versus myth units reduced from 6 times to 4 times. So this is actually a good change. It's basically Nereid. You would make 2 of these and they would one-shot any myth unit on water. So this basically nerfs that, but makes them more of a generalist water myth unit-ish, but they still have that assassin-ish vibe to them. Alright, so Dryad, train time reduced from 22 to 13. Well, at least we got one patch without Dryads being absurd, right? It's still 13 seconds, up from 5, so we'll take it. It's not gonna be insane. I mean, it's gonna be good now. This was really bad, but this is good. 5 seconds was insane. So this is a fine change. Cantarius and Hero Pierce armor increased from 40 to 45. Of course, they had to buff the Cantarius because of everything else. And I think this is the one unit that actually doesn't need to be touched because it's really good. But that's fine. Fire Siphon adjusted as follows. Hit was increased from 350 to 400. Oh my god. 16 to 18. Now, but these are insane, no? 18 range Fire Siphons. The main reason people don't build Fire Siphons is because Destroyers are just better, by the way. They're fucking insane. Fanatics, hit points increase from 140 to 145. And Hero, 155 to 160. I don't know, I feel like Fanatics were fine. Luckily, it's just a minor buff. It's not too big, but it's acceptable. I just hope they don't buff it any further. Because they already buffed the training time last patch, if I'm not wrong. If I'm not mistaken. Alright, the Chinese Pantheon. On my Pog Shenrong, go on. Herbal medicine technology adjusted as follows. Sage heal rate increased from 7.5 to 10 hit points per second. That's nice. Number of units healed around the main target increased from 3 to 5. That's nice. Not bad. Miner goes Hotu. Earth Wall is no longer affected by wall upgrades. Thank God. This God power is stupid and it's a really nice change. Gumang Maelstrom technology adjusted as follows. No longer slows enemies by 50% in the 20 radius area. Divine damage reduced from 5 to 3. So I heard this was the most busted water tech in the game, and I never really got to test it. But yeah, this is fine. Obviously, it needed a nerf. They nerfed it. That's fine. Knew about drought ships? No, my beloved. No, I'm just kidding. This needed a nerf. This was really bad. I don't think stuff like this should even exist in the game, to be honest. I still think it's insane. This still might need a further nerf, by the way. Moving on. Tao Wu. Dash ability no longer affects farms. No, but this is how I raided people. I would actually take the Tao Wu and go and special attack on their farms. It's so based. Sad, it's gone now. Now the Chonky is here, the Chonky nerfs. Damage reduced from 22 to 18, that's a massive nerf. Flying line of sight reduced from 20 to 16. That's also a big nerf. Ability cooldown reduced from 5 to 10. That's also a pretty big nerf. Overall, big nerfs for the Chongqi, but still gonna be a fine myth unit. Yeah. Chi Wen, bolster ability, target crush armor, vulnerability reduced from 75 to... I think they saw me use the Chi Wens in the most abusive way possible. I used 2 Chi Wens to get 100, 100, and 100. And I don't know if you can still stack them, but this should help out a lot. Moving on, Sage heal rate increased from 5 to 7.5 hit points per second. Wait, what? Oh, is this... Oh, this is herbal medicine. Okay. So, base Sage has also got a buff. Hero Quafu damage adjusted from 34 to 26.6. Okay, still not gonna be enough. This thing shouldn't do that much damage. 26 is still too much. Wizard Javelineer train time reduced from 18 to 14. Still a kind of a trash unit, but 14 seconds is welcome. Can't complain. Terracotta Riders now have minus 75 damage in Archaic Age. This is really good because there were some abusive strategies that people would do and just win games off of that, which was like, you know, no skill, nothing like that, just bullshit, right? So this is a welcome change. White Horse Cavalry, of course, 40 to 45. Not that I think they needed it, but obviously universal change. Now this is the one I dislike the most for China. These nerfs are not good at all. Okay, this one is actually good. But this one, and especially this one, unwarranted. Why, you might ask? Why, Nolra? They're fucking broken. The Tiger Cav in and of itself is fine. What is broken are the Gumang and Gonggong techs. The Last Stand and I forgot what the other one is called. Those 2 techs made the Tiger Cav broken. So one of those techs needed to get nerfed. Not the base Tiger Cav, because now the Tiger Cav is useless if you don't go through those minor gods. This is still going to be an abusive unit in this patch. People will still go through Gumang and Gonggong and use them. It's not going to make a big difference. So I appreciate the nerf, but they were not in the correct places. But I'm sure they might look into that once they see that it's still a problematic unit. Chukunu, range increase from 14 to 15. Still never gonna build you, buddy. You are still worthless to me. Sadly, the coolest unit of China, useless, in my opinion, at least. In my opinion, at least. They need something. They need to do something. They're an expensive unit. They're super cool, but they don't do anything special. Fire Archer just as follows. Cost increase from 35 to 50, 35. Line of sight reduced. Train time increased. It's not going to make much of a difference, to be honest with you. These are still strong. Needed to nerf their multiplier, I feel, in my opinion. Of course, this is all my opinion. Everything I say is my opinion. I could be wrong. I could be right. I don't know. I'm just yapping and telling you my thoughts. But yeah, other units. Quafu damage adjusted from 25.3 to 22.5. Slight shift in power from... I mean, they don't want them to kill stuff as easily, but they still want them to destroy buildings, basically. Buildings. Dock favored land radius reduced from 20 to 12. This is a good change. That was insane. I don't know how it went by with so many patches, but I'm glad they finally did something about it. Random maps. Okay. They removed one of my favorite maps. I'm very sad about this. They removed Bamboo Grove, which wasn't a bad map. This one needed to be removed. Peach Blossom Land is not a map for competitive play, I feel. It's a very cool map, very nice map to look at, but it has no place in competitive play, in my opinion. They added Air, Mount Olympus, and Sea of Worms. All three are bad. Very bad for competitive play. Okay, Mount Olympus, one can argue, is good for competitive play, but Sea of Worms and Air, I don't know about that one. But we get some variety in the maps. I'm okay with it. They will change them each patch, which is fine. You know, this is good. They change maps. They bring some old ones back. They bring some new ones in. You know, change it around. But please don't ever do this again. The Mount Olympus, Jesus. I have PTSD. I'm not gonna hang up on. Okay, so moving on. Hunt will now correctly adhere to constraints on the Nile Shallows random map. Okay, so sometimes Hunt was odd on this map. And now it should be more consistent, I guess. Many adjustments to many maps to slightly reduce the number of starting chickens and berries. On average, the change is about 1 berry bush and 1 chicken less. So this is to basically offset the hunt changes from plus 25% more food. So this is just it's not gonna do much. It's nothing you need to really worry about. So basically every map is affected by this change. And the rest is campaign and modding. Up. Okay, so we are done with the patch review. My final thoughts, mixed feelings. I like the changes for Norse, but there are some key things I didn't like, which I did mention when we went over it. The changes for Raw were fine, but Set and Isis are kind of insane now. I don't know why. The Greek, I guess Hades and Zeus were untouched because they're in a fine place. Some people feel like they're too good. I personally don't have any issues against them, and they're very abusable. But yeah, I don't know. Could be wrong. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. drop a sub, a like, a comment. Let me know your thoughts and feelings. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What do you like about these changes? You want to see something else? I don't know.